Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Today is March 31, 2021, and the time is now 9:54 a.m. in the morning. I hope your day is going well. I want to talk about a sensitive issue. I want to talk about the latest incident in New York City where I live. The attack on this Asian woman. It happened this past Sunday around 11:30 a.m. On Monday, when I was walking my dogs that you see here, on Monday, I had gotten up early, and I want to talk about the incident and just other matters. I think that's part of the issue of this horrific attack. The good news right away is that the suspect was arrested. I think this morning around 1 o'clock in the morning. So I'm happy about that they got an arrest of the suspect. The suspect's name is Brandon Elliott, and he lives in a shelter, homeless shelter, and guess what? This person had been arrested before. Get this, and I thought, like, when I learned of the brutal attack on this defenseless woman. The woman was about 65 years old, and the suspect is I think it said 38 years old, and it was a really big guy. Get this. He was in prison, and the reason why he was in prison was because he had murdered his own mother. He stabbed his mother to death. So it figures, when I was going, and I live not too far from that area. That's all I'll say. I live in the neighborhood where this attack happened, and when I learned of the attack, when I was walking my dogs, I see all these trucks and those satellite things, whatever you call it. And so I asked him, what are these trucks here for? Because there's so many of them. Well, those are the news trucks that have the equipment when you're going on television. So he told me it was an attack on an Asian lady. So when I got back home from walking my dogs, I went on my internet, my computer right over there, and I just typed in Asian woman attacked in such and such neighborhood. And there I saw it. Yeah, it was one of the first few things, the first 2 videos on YouTube. Bingo. So I saw 4 videos regarding this subject because I wanted to understand, to get the full spectrum on the attack. And the first video I saw was so horrific. It really bothered me the whole day. I was shaky, very anxious, and I felt like sometimes when I get stressed, I want to eat. And that's what I wanted to do. When I saw that, it was so barbaric, the attack. And I said to him, when I saw it, the first video, which was the most graphic, the news people are still out there too. Yeah, I had to walk my dogs. I just came back from walking them, and I just fed them. I want to share with you my thoughts on this whole thing. Um, and the thing is, I wasn't, before I learned of the attack Monday morning when I walked my dogs, I felt unsettled, and I felt unsettled about many things, but this whole social media, come in, come in, the whole social media thing, the just how people are acting, things that I see on the news. It's you know, I don't have television, but I have my computer, and I love my YouTube. But I see that the things that they have on and how it's affecting me. I say, you know something? What am I really getting out of this? Um, I feel like I said, you know, maybe I should, you know, with certain things, maybe this is just a sign for me to just kind of lay off YouTube for a while, um, take more time with my dogs. The weather's getting a little bit warmer now in New York City, and I wanna celebrate life. You know, a couple of videos ago on the first day of spring, I did that video with the food that I prepared to celebrate life. You know, first day of spring is about celebrating life. So that's what that's what I want to focus on these days. Life, my little dogs, and my health. So I said, you know, maybe this is just the signs of the times right now. Hey, you know, maybe don't put up any more videos, well, at least for a while. So I said, you know, I want to get up early. So I got up early, got out there uh, to do my pack walk without the stroller, and walk my dogs. And you know, I, I, I didn't expect to see the trucks out there, because that Monday, I mean that Sunday, I also walked my dogs very early in the morning, and I stayed in my place the whole day. I was back at my place around 8 o'clock in the morning, and the attack happened around 11:30 a.m. So I didn't know about it. Um, so I want to talk to you from my perspective on these what they call Asian attacks, um, and just New York City in general, and the Black community that I'm a member of. Um, I shared this video um, for awareness, and I don't think I want to do any more videos, at least for a while. But I want to put this one out because I just learned that they apprehended the suspect, you know, and to learn about his background, and lives in the area, most likely. When they mention where he lives, oh, I have a feeling he lives in that building, you know. So yeah, his the suspect's name is Brandon Elliott, and he's been arrested. He has a rap sheet, and headed to prison for the murder of his own mother, and he has life parole. Okay, so when I learned about the brutal attack on the Asian woman, I was horrified to see it, and horrified at the people in the building where it happened in front of. Um, at least what they show, they just, you know, after the brutal attack, he goes close the door. I don't know whether that same person called the cops. So, well, the lady did get help. You know, the ambulance came, and I'm happy to say that she's out of the hospital now. But she had gotten a broken pelvis. Oh my God, the pain that woman must have been through. It was yeah. I'm just learning about the, you know, that he was apprehended, and the woman is out of the hospital, and that she suffered a broken pelvis. Wow. So I want to talk candidly. about this whole melee and New York City in general. And I've talked about certain things before. The climate here, the social climate here in New York City and the United States. Well, one thing, I'm born and raised here in New York City. I love this city. I don't like a lot of things about it. It is a very racialistic, biased place. It has a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, um, and with this, uh, I call it pandemic, is being used to manipulate people's emotions and to cause people in general uh, to fear one another and to hate one another. I lived in that area where the attack occurred, and I have to even before I learned of the attack, um, for months. Um, People on that same street, they whether the I want to believe that they're doing it by accident, but they bang into my dogs. I'm afraid my dog's getting hurt. Um, I I try to keep my dogs close to me. My dogs are always on a leash. Um, and it's like something you try to pull the leash close to you because people just run into your dogs. I experienced microaggressions on that same street on 43rd Street. The guys, um, I might stay over to the building, the walls, in the on the block, or on the opposite side by the planter. And either way, you have these same jerks, these young dudes. He looked like the person that I'm referring to. He looked about like in his 20s, but the same spirit and this microaggression. Now they have all this room on the opposite side of me, but they want to come in between me and and step over my dogs, and in the process, kicking them. And it's like, where is this coming from? This microaggression. And I remember it also happened when I was against the wall. The same thing. So it's like a foot between me and the wall, and boom. But it's all this room on that side. So you have some men who seem to have this anger, and they want to do things to try to look cool or whatever what it is. But I took it that they have a deep-seated hatred, and I feel that they have a hatred towards women, a hatred towards black women. I'm a black woman, um, but just women in general. And the men that did this were men from my own group, black men. And no, this is not an anti-black male message either, but I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real on who I'm getting the aggression against. Um, aggression is aggression, no matter what the race of the person is. But I'm keeping this real because I want to address certain issues um, for awareness. Not about shaming. It's not about that. This video. It's about communicating, getting my thoughts across, and to awaken us so that we pay attention for what some of us are doing or how we're coming across. Okay, 2020 was a hard year for all of us. It was extremely difficult for me. It was extremely difficult for me because the people who I knew who got sick with the COVID and who died of the COVID, at least at least that's what they were classified dying from. And it scared me. So One day I was walking along 8th Avenue in New York City. It's a big, big, busy, very touristy area. And I had my dogs in my original stroller, original shopping cart, the red one. Many of you who remember me from my other videos. Um, and this was like it was a little bit past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And there was a beggar, a black fellow, and he was asking for money, and I said politely, I'm sorry, you know. And guess what? As a pretense to get closer, he started asking me about my dogs, so he can squeeze my behind. I was frightened, and I talked about this before, and it happened right by an establishment. And you know, with this incident, with the lady, Asian woman being brutally beaten, I'm going to write to that place where the incident happened with me being groped, and I'm going to address the issue about it. And the reason why I want to address the issue, see, it's about, because the lady that got attacked, it happened in the eyesight of the people that worked at that high-rise luxury apartment. And and they didn't come to the lady's aid, at least in the video that they show on YouTube. And that's what I want to address, why I want to address the establishment. When I went to the, at the window to get assistance, I just said, please call the cops. This man just, etc. And the lady, it was a young, again, it was the person that groped me was a black man, and the woman that I asked for assistance at the establishment was a black woman. And the lady, it was a younger, either she was a teenager or early 20s, very petite, very pretty girl too. And, but she had an ugly mouth. Wow. The venom that came out of this woman's mouth was really something. And so, again, this I live in this area for 18 years, so I'm not like a newcomer. And even if I wasn't a newcomer, but I'm a seasoned resident of this the neighborhood where what happened to me, and I've bought from that establishment. But see, maybe companies, I don't know whether companies instruct the people that work there to not get involved in outside affairs. I had seen once before a man in the middle of the sidewalk, and it was drenching rain, right in the middle, spun out. I know if I was in the rain, in the line on the ground, I would want someone to come my aid. I don't know whether he was just what you call a derelict, but either way, you know, dignity, you know. Let's give people some dignity, whether they're alcoholics, that human component. I didn't have a cell phone at that time. This was a couple of years back. I didn't have a cell phone back then. But I think that incident with the man lying on the ground made me think, you know, maybe I should get a cell phone. But what happened with the man lying in the street, there was a business right there. I said, "May you sure, could you call the Amazon man?" He says, "I can't we're not allowed to get involved with anything outside. So I said, well, I said, well, could I use your phone to call? Uh-uh. Sorry. So he says no, and it's just so I so I'm thinking, okay, with that establishment, maybe other businesses are instructing their security. He was a security, a man at the desk who I think he had the security uniform on, and that's what he was told to do. Don't get involved. And I remember saying, hey, what if there was another 9/11 incident happen? You're going to just sit here and just watch things on fire? You're not going to call for help, to get help? And it angered me about how we're becoming so insensitive in New York City. Again, that was a couple of years back. Maybe 7 years ago, something like that. So now back to the present, what this is about. So I'm thinking, well, I want to contact that establishment that where the groping occurred, and let them know what their employee, how they handled that situation. And see, see, it goes more than just, see, I think if the lady said, I'm afraid, I just started working here, and we're we're ordered not to, then that's something I wouldn't have a really that much of a beef with the lady. But the venom that came out of this young woman's voice, what if when she leaves to go home, the same man gropes up? What if something like that were to happen? And and the reason why I mentioned the race of the people involved, or what they looked like, is because, see, 2020 was a hard year for many of us, but also a hard year because you had all these incidences that happened in many of the large cities in America, and it involved black people being harassed or killed by citizens and police officers, especially the police officer. And it's not a coincidence that the killing of George Floyd, that was back around in May. Boy, I remember that day. I was out in Central Park enjoying myself with my dogs when that horrific thing happened. But now the trial began. So it was interesting how, okay, you have an event that happened last summer, or late spring in 2020, and then now this climate of Asian bashing, right? But all throughout 2020, you had all this melee of people. It seemed like it was happening, these riots happening in large cities throughout America. And it was here, and also in New York City, the slogan Black Lives Matter. And yes, there is an organization as well, Black Lives Matter, that's supposed to be, that came about because of the killing of this 17-year-old boy, what's his name? Trayvon Martin, by George Zimmerman in Florida. And Zimmerman gets off because of stand your ground law. That shook me up. And that incident that happened in Florida with Trayvon Martin, which is something that was the catalyst that got me to start doing videos, but not on the primary channel that I have now. The channel that I'm going to upload this came out several years after that event. I had another channel, and it was to focus on black concern, black people, black issues, and it's called Black Com Warning. And I wanted to be like the alert, the warning for the community, the black community that I care about, that I'm a member of. And then I stopped uploading videos to that channel, and I explained before in past videos why I stopped, why I wanted to stop uploading to that YouTube channel, because this incident, another incident happened involving a man. Oh, I forget his name, but was a former owner of a basketball team from California, and he had a woman working with him. The lady was biracial, black father, Mexican American mother, and she recorded him saying some extremely hateful things towards this particular black basketball player who had nothing to do with, well, either way, that owner of the team, he loses his team, whether they bought him out, whatever, I don't know, but after the incident that got a lot of attention at the time, that happened, maybe, was it 7 years ago, something like that, these black women were going on vacation with them. Again, the man is married to somebody, but he's gonna, on the side, go out with these black women. And so so why that matters to me, again, I don't care about what your preferences are, but that whole incident was that he was the alleged bigot, racist. And yeah, I would tend to agree, but that the people went out with him only went because of money. So it's like, here, this whole, why even have him lose his job if members from that community that he violated verbally, to go on group date with them, it was several women that went on vacation with him. He's a billionaire. So you have women in our black community who really don't care about who they're dating, so long you got money. And it angered me. So I said, you know something, here I got emotionally upset because of the whole incident regarding this former basketball team owner, and that if members of the black community don't care, maybe I shouldn't care about doing the video, having the channel that I had at that time, Black Com Warning. So I said, I'm going to forget about this channel, and I'm going to start a new one, which is the current one, Spirit Journey. And I said, let me focus more on my spiritual development. But as time got on, I started, again, incorporating more and more of black issues. So, what's going on? Again, 2020 passed, which shook the world up, and you had a lot of fighting. You had people being beaten up just because of what they look like by members of black and other so-called minority people. And I was angry. And I said, what is this all about? You're saying Black Lives Matter. What are you doing with all this violence against people who did nothing to you? And so when I learned about the recent the Asian woman being beaten up this past Sunday, and I checked on the internet to find out more about it, they showed several incidences of people beating up Asian, East Asian looking people. I want to make a distinction. They use the term with a broad brush, Asians, but the people that they're primarily targeting are people of East Asian ancestry, China, Korea, those type, that phenotype is who they seem to be targeting. Not people from like South Asia, like from India, Pakistan, but that I'm sure that it happens here too. Um, I think it's evil to just attack people, and to see that a man to beat up a woman. I immediately thought this guy has issues with women, and it's not solely because the person was Asian. And then lo and behold, just maybe a half an hour ago, to learn the name of the suspect, Brandon Elliott, was did prison time for the stabbing and her stabbing of his own mother, and she dying. That's why he was in prison for 16 years and has a lifetime probation. So it shows a hardened heart, and this whole strip here on 43rd Street of some of the men, and some of the in specific the black men, and how some of us are becoming members of the black community here in New York City are becoming so hardened. I walk in anxiety walking with my dogs because people would bump and knock into them. And I'm fearful, and I'm pulling, and people might think, oh, she's pulling so hard on the rope. Oh, I'm pulling because I want to keep my dogs near me, because you have evil people in New York City who have no respect for little animals or even little people. And it's spooky. It's spooky. I feel I have compassion for the blacks that you see on the street who are down and out. Sometimes I buy them food. In the past I've given money to this one individual who has his corner that he stands on. That he sits on, and yeah, I see him all the time when I walk my dog. When I used to walk my dogs real early in the morning, and I stopped because all the drama with some of these guys. They walk into the leash, and my leash is a standard size leash. It's 4 feet long. That's a standard size leash. And then you have people with those leashes that go maybe 30 feet. Somehow I never see them get trip over those, but mine. I'm not saying that they're singling me out specifically, but I'm trying to find reason. What's going on? Why is this happening? So I want to try to keep my dogs near me so that they don't get kicked. And it enrages me. So I said, what could I do so I could at least initially get out of this particular specific area, so I can get to the park, so I could then have my dogs walk in peace. So I started using this stroller, and then someone wants to, this other guy, I think he was like a tourist of a different group than I belong to, different fellow, and he wants to go and grab my dog. He wanted to get a dog for his girlfriend. Yeah, are you selling your dogs? It's unfortunate that they see a black woman with this. It's almost funny, but they see a black woman, a woman of color with a shopping cart, and I must be selling my dogs. And they want to go. He said, I want one anyway. I said, no, these are my babies. And the guy, it has this big thing of beer, and I think it had ice in it too. And he's inebriated. So I want one anyway for my girlfriend. So it's like fear. I walk in fear. I want to just get in and out of the area, take care of business. And when I had gotten, last year, when I had gotten groped near where I live, it took like a half an hour for the police to come, and then to find out, the police said, well, we're probably going to let him go anyway because they probably called him crazy, and because of COVID, we have to let him go. What does COVID, which is just a cold or flu, right? 99.9% of people who are exposed to it, nothing really happens to them. Less than 1% really get sick. Less than 1%. So that guy who groped me, he lived. He told the police he lived. The cop pretty much knew that he had to probably come from a shelter or something. And he said, yes, I live on the shelter on down. I think it was 34th Street, but the cop said 20-something Street. I don't know. They move from one location to Panhandle, and it's like the men are getting so aggressive that, okay, you didn't give money, well, I'm gonna take what I want. That's the mentality, some of them. So even though you try to be compassionate to some of these young men or older guys, this guy was actually, he could have been in his 40s, 50s. And when he did that to me, I was infuriated. And I was infuriated with, to hear the cops say, when they finally came, we're just going to release him anyway, because he's probably they're going to say that he's crazy. I don't care if he's crazy or not. Keep him off the street. Keep him off the street, right? I don't think it was crazy. He was just another black dude, down and out, living in the shelter. They build hotel. I mean, they have abandoned hotels that the city of New York houses these former inmate, prisoners, people who come out of jail, and all that demographics. But they're out here in the general population. A lot of them, there's another one down the road. And I'm wondering whether the guy that did the Asian bashing, whether he lives in the one I'm thinking of. That's not far from here. Yeah, you would never think that individual, how he was dressed. He looked no different than any of the other people in the area, blacks in the area. You would never think. And he brutalized the lady. It scared me. So the next one, I wanted to give that background. So why I'm doing this video also, okay, you have 2020 that passed, now it's 2021, and now you have the court hearing now going for the guy who killed George, what's his name? I'm sorry, I just forgot his name. Oh, brother, it'll come to me. George Floyd. Okay, George Floyd. When they kneed him to death and suffocated him. So now that trial is on. And all those riots that happened, pretty much, at least the George Floyd incident was the excuse for many of the demonstrations, marches, protests, whatever what you want to call it, arson, and also people being beaten up because of what they look like, what their race was. And I'm tired of the guy that groped me in 2020 was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. So now I am afraid of anybody with any Black Lives Matter paraphernalia. And you have also what I've seen in New York City, even white people wearing this one white girl wearing a face mask with the BLM. You know why a lot of them wear that? So they don't get beat up. They think by wearing that will prevent them from getting beat up by black people. That's what I think. And the stores, the storefronts, are putting Black Lives Matter, and I feel it's only to protect their establishment businesses so they don't get assaulted or, business ransacked. And I think that's a shame because, see, Black lives, Black lives, it does matter, but everybody's life matters. Everybody's business, honest business, matters. These businesses service you and anyone who goes to these businesses. We have to respect other people's feelings and property. It doesn't all, it's not all about us, black people. We're not the only people on this planet. There are other people here that have feelings. And when this man, Brandon Elliott, violated the life, the sanctity of that Asian woman's life, he violated that humanity. There was no humanity in him. And it could have been any woman. Again, he killed his mother. And so you think he's going to care about other women outside of his group? Or whatever what he wants to classify himself as? This person, the suspect, is a danger to many of us. And I'm angry that the mantra Black Lives Matter, but we're becoming culprits. People are becoming more and more afraid. And you think some people in my black community, blacks in general, from the community I belong to, think it's cool to do certain things. They think it's cool to beat up on Asian people. I'm 58 years old, and yeah, I went to public school, and we all see what happens in New York City. We all have seen it, and it's underreported. It is underreported. And who you see? Who do you see doing a lot of this? And I've never seen. I'm gonna put it out there. I never saw a white person do that to those East Asians. In fact, in the area, you have a lot of white men dating these Asian women, East Asian women. You see that a lot. And yeah, you do see some black men also dating East Asian ladies as well. But who you see doing the beat down, you just go on social media and you'll see. And many of them look like people from my community. And that's the sad part. That is the sad part. Many of the businesses where the attack happened are all Asian. The restaurants all along 9th Avenue, Asian. Many of them Asian, all over, and a lot of black people, West Indians, people from the Caribbean, all different groups from the Caribbean. They go, many of them go in these Asian places and eat there, right? So they're servicing you. If you enjoy their service and their food, then they're servicing you. They make up the community you live in. And now you have this pandemic. And I think in my opinion, the pandemic is all about social engineering to cause violence. And you think being being a black person that we have compassion for other people, other so-called minority. But what's happening? Oh, what I was gonna get at that we're many of us are targeting these Asian people because they tend to be a little smaller in stature and they're quiet. And unfortunately, many of us from the black community take being quiet as being weak. And so it seems like many of us then feel, oh, there's someone weaker than me, weaker than the black community, well, I'm going to target them. And that's what I see. I've seen it in school. I've seen it. I see it on. I've seen it on the train. I never saw a beat down, but mocking them, because they the ones on the train, they used to sell these products, these little toys on the train. They're real expensive, and they don't look like they can speak English, you know. And then you get the black dudes making fun of them trying to earn a living. And I said, wow. And I just want, you hear it and you see it. And I said, what is this guy's business to this guy? And you know that if someone made fun of the black guy hustling, whatever, you'll see what happens. So it's like the rules change for everybody else, that only Black Lives Matter, but you can make fun of other races and stuff like that. And I'm doing this video because it's not right, and I don't agree with it. I don't agree to make fun of somebody open and to beat them up or to rob them just because they're Asian or they're small, you know. And you know, some people may look like one thing, but are something else. There are people who are actually black people, but they may look like a member of other group. And I've seen that. And they were going to be robbed just because what they thought they were. And they weren't that. So you got to be very careful, people, and members of my community, that some of those people that you want to beat down may not be who you think they are. They may even be married to members of our community and good members and helping their families from a black union. You don't know who you're messing with. There are people out there who look modest, who are an asset to the black community, to all America. And right now you're like feeling yourself, your so-called proudness, because of all the freedom that you had to do the burning down of people's property, beating up people, and using the slogan Black Lives Matter. But you know, Black lives don't matter to you. And that's what this is about, this video. That all this melee from last year, 2020, now it's 2021, March 31, and you're becoming a real embarrassment and a shame. The guy that got Brandon Elliott, the suspect who attacked that Asian woman this past Sunday, you know, a murder, someone who killed his own mother. Why? Where is this coming from? This hatred. let me turn my perspective on it. Again, I don't know that individual, but I wanted to talk out of my experience. I come from a background. I'm born and raised here, and I was mistreated growing up from my family. I lived in fear, and let me tell you what I think what happens in the Black community or West Indian community, um, we come out from violence. The West Indies is a region in the world where it had um, extreme violence due to slavery. And yes, the United States of America also had slavery, and the violence that the Black community learned from the people who oppressed us. Yes, it does exist. The legacy of slavery, and I know many of you don't want to hear that, but it is a component to all this. Um, and yes, you have discrimination. You have people, Black men, West Indian men, people who are struggling to survive, people who are bombarded by messages in the newspaper, on television, on the news, um, and in the classroom that vilify Black people. And I experienced that propaganda when I was growing up as a young girl. And I think this attributes a lot of the inner anger that comes out. And so the person in my growing up who hurt me, put fear in me, um, they it, that they lived in an environment when you examine, and again, it's not giving excuses and make but I'm trying I just wanted what could possibly be motivating this anger. People learn violence, and so I learned that the person that um, was hostile and mean towards me, that their mother was violent towards them and controlling. That they came from the Caribbean. She came by herself. She came, well, and they got robbed when they arrived. The person tricked them, and they took their money away. That's what was told to me. But so you have someone who's dealing with problems, and the fact that they left by themselves. They didn't leave with family and friends. They left by themselves. When you mistreat when you women, Black women, when you abuse your sons and you hit them or cause them fear or name call them, you don't think something's going to happen? Don't you see what's going on? There are men who have such a hatred towards certain members. They don't really like women. They might like a woman for sex, but that's about it. But they have a hatred and a misogyny. There seems to be a misogyny that's happening in the Black community. It's not being talked about. I had stopped going to this particular church because I had to go through this Black area in Brooklyn. And it's like every time you go there, you see physical violence. I saw on the bus a young Black dude slaps a woman, an older woman, as he walked off the bus. And the bus driver did nothing. See, again, no one's saying or doing anything. That bus driver did not call the cops or anything. They did absolutely nothing. See, we don't care about ourselves. We don't care about our community or each other. But now it's like with the bus drivers, that incident with the person slapping someone on the bus, the woman on the bus, that happened maybe 15 years ago, 16 years ago. Yeah, they didn't have all those. They have these barricades for the bus drivers now. That if you assault a bus driver, it's a felon. But what about the people, the passengers who are assaulted? Okay, so it's like we don't care about people, and so we have this violent culture that happens upon us. Just violence was brought upon the black community, whether you're black Latino, a black West Indian, a black from North America. It affects us, and some of us, some of the women, become violent also because you may not have a husband, but you have children. You're stressing to put meat on the table, and you take it out on your kids. And a lot of these black women take it out on their children and name call them, hit them on the head. Yeah, that's why I stopped going to that church. Going because I had to go through this real problematic church. I mean, problematic neighborhood. It was a predominantly black, a black church, but it was also, I had to go through this very problematic black area to get to that other church. And I saw how the women, the black women, talked to their children, and she even slapped the little girl. It angered me. And I only see this type of behavior with black women and some other women of the Caribbean. I want to be really tactful, and I'm tired of it. Why are we hurting ourselves? Why are we hurting our children? What would make a man, and this Elliott, the suspect of the Asian basher from this past Sunday in Manhattan, what would make a man kill his mother? So again, I'm thinking about, okay, you have some women and they're real hard on their kids, or they just turn the other cheek. They just let their kids do anything. Some of them spend, I'm not going to speculate, I'm sorry. You could just speculate what might have gone on. Some women really try to do their best. Some of us black women, we're good at heart, but society just got to them. It's a lot of racism in America. It's a lot of colorism. It's a lot of propaganda. And I think helplessness. You have a system that, what was that, 3 strikes and you're out? A system where if you, they set up black neighborhoods. I heard about that. You have people in government who put drugs in black neighborhoods, and then those black guys primarily who's selling the drugs, then they arrest them. But they're not arresting the people in government who put it there and gave it to him. Blacks aren't bringing in the drugs here. But see, I mentioned that again, not to give excuses, no excuse for violence. But you have a system that is creating a social environment of violence. When you get thrown in prison, when you're denied access to certain types of jobs, yeah, it's hard to get certain types of jobs. You put under pressure. You're looked at with suspicion. I used to work in private sector, and I think about the things even with me. So again, it's no excuse of beating up a woman or any human being. but I'm giving a background what's happening. So I think also um, what's also inflaming some people. New York City is becoming a very, if you have the haves and the have-nots, and curious that the person who the suspect in this beating allegedly told the lady that she doesn't belong in this belong here, allegedly. Well, the buildings all in this area, the new high-rise luxury buildings, many of them are people, many of the people living there are people from East Asia. They're whites and East Asian looking people that live in many of these new high-rise. Yes, you have other groups that live in there too, but they're in this neighborhood. And the businesses, many of them are Asian and East Asian at that. So that lady, I don't know where she lives. I don't know the lady. I know who the lady is, but this is their neighborhood too. This is their neighborhood. But again, the perception, I think, what's happening now, you have a lot of the black men in this neighborhood are jobless. Many of them are living on the street, at least hanging out on the street, dealing drugs on that same block. And then you see many of the newcomers in this vicinity are people from that look like they're from East Asia. And many of these people have the businesses here, the restaurants, a lot of Chinese Asian restaurants here in this area. And I think they're getting angry, some of the blacks. And I think when they heard about the coronavirus and how it was spun, that they're taking out on them. And it's wrong. So I think also like when you have people who feel oppressed, whether it's reality or in their head, I notice with human nature that you have people who are weak-minded, and when you perceive someone being weaker than you, I notice that they are targeted. And unfortunately, I see that happening a lot in the black community. If you're perceived as being weaker, they're coming after you. When I was targeted on the train a couple of years ago, these two black women went to her to try to intimidate me. And I know how I felt. And it seemed that they were specifically looking for someone that looked like me. The train that I was on, and it's a great train. And many of the people that were on that train were people from Latin America and Asia. And there were many seats available, but they walked over to harass me. I was the only black woman that I saw on that train, and there was a older black gentleman directly in front of me, watching and seeing. It was awful. How you perceive, how many of us black people are perceived by East Asians, or all Asians. You're not nice people. You're horrible to your own. You're horrible to your children. And then look what's happening now. That guy Brandon Elliott, the suspect in the beatdown of the Asian woman this past Sunday, kills his own mother. You don't love yourself, but you come out and talk about Black Lives Matter, but black lives don't seem to matter to black people. And other people are watching us. They don't want to hire us. They don't want, and then I'm looking like a bad guy because I'm a black woman. I don't believe in violence. I want to take care of my little dogs. I love nature. I respect life. But many of us in the Black community, we do not respect life. We do not respect that which is perceived as being weaker than us because we're taught weakness that you're supposed to violate. Stop violating each other. Stop violating yourself by doing drugs and drinking. Stop violating the bodies of others. If you want to be taken seriously out there by other minority groups and by white people, you need to start respecting yourself, respecting the people in your community, respecting the people who own businesses. And you need to stop kicking my dog. You need to stop that. Black women, start treating your children nicely and select your mate better. And men, stop abusing women. Stop the beat down of women. If you don't like women, stay away. Let's try to find out let's take control over our lives. Let's get the mental health that we need. Let's be mindful of the foods and the substances we put in our body. Let's go out in nature and start being one with nature. We're really an outdoorsy people. Let's be kind to ourselves and others. Let's take responsibility for our lives and learn to be kind and to out those people who are harming our community, harming the planet. Out governments that are maybe targeting your neighborhood of the drugs, of those what they call the electromagnetic frequencies that they might aim at your community to get you angry. They do that too, I hear. Let's out the real perpetrators out there that hide behind technology and governments. Out them. Let's stop taking it out on our children. Let's stop that. Start loving your children. Start saying I love you to your children. Hug your children. If you're not ready to have a family, then don't have a family. We need to start taking responsibility because we're a laughing stock all throughout 2020, Black Lives Matter, but you're committing harm to other people, other so-called minority people like Asians. Many Asians are an asset to our community because we don't have businesses of our own. Why don't we have businesses of our own? Maybe that's something you should start thinking about and start resolving. Don't take it out on others. If there's a problem, then start addressing it within your family and your community and your churches. Stop beating up little people or people, anybody. Stop beating up your children. Stop beating up on other people. Let's learn how to be humane. So that's all I really want to talk about. I didn't know I was going to be on this long, but I love all humanity. And again, I want to take the time to give this message, because now we know who this suspect is, and to learn that he killed his own mother. We need to come together as a community. Black people, they can easily call it out for what it is. It's a hate crime. What the guy did was a hate crime and a crime against women. Let's cut it out. So I want to take it easy for a while. I want to take care of my household here, my health. I want to lay off of social, YouTube for a while, at least uploading. I want to start exercising. I have here a exercise bands. I want to start using them, getting my body in shape. I want to do my walking. I want to go out in nature. I need to do my homework to get me together, to build up myself. Because the social media, we're not acting like people. Social media is making us become like robots. So I want to take some time off, um, go in nature. I thought the video I uploaded yesterday was going to be my last video for a while. I did put up that nature video. I had my little dogs and we're out at the park. But I felt it necessary to just do this one, and I want to lay low for a while. If I do put up video, maybe I just do the little nature video. No audio. I mean, no talking in the video. Just hearing nature sounds. If I do that, maybe that's all that I'll do. So yeah. So that's my rant here. I want us all to get along. The Asian people in the black community in New York City, in Midtown or Hell's Kitchen, throughout Manhattan and Queens and all the boroughs. They're valuable, especially I think to the black and West Indian community, because they have the businesses here for us. And maybe this is a wake up call. Hey, let us start having our own businesses. Let's empower ourselves and respect life, and to learn to love your children. Let's love ourselves. Let's love the person we see in the mirror. So this is me signing off. Peace, love, and joy to you all. Okay, bye bye.